We are back at Blenheim Palace today, and I think I've lost track of how many times we've come here, but we pretty much bring all of our visitors here since it's such a fabulous place to visit. It's so interesting, it's unique, and it's full of history. But we personally don't tour the palace every time we come. Instead, we go explore other places in the area, and I try to bring vlogs to you of those places in Oxfordshire so you can learn a little bit more about what there is to see here in the county around the Blenheim Palace location. So I've previously done a video of Woodstock, and in this video I'm going to cover Bladon, which is a nearby village, as well as Witney. So let's see what else there is to see around Blenheim Palace. We are going to start by visiting a village called Bladon, which is about 8 miles from the city of Oxford and less than 2 miles from Blenheim Palace. It's the church that makes Bladon famous, so let's go check it out. This church here in Bladon is basically a relatively new church in a very historic place. This building is just a little over 200 years old, but there has been a church on this site for over 800 years. This is a place steeped in history. Henry II and Thomas Becket walked together here. Edward the Black Prince grew up here. Elizabeth I was imprisoned nearby, and Cromwell's soldiers desecrated it. John Churchill, the first Duke of Marlborough, received this church as a gift of a grateful Queen Anne after his victory in the Battle of Blenheim. And Sir Winston Churchill, who loved Bladon greatly, lies buried here with his wife and children. Bladon was a Roman settlement in the 3rd century, and in the Domesday Book in 1086, it was recorded under the name of Blade. Its early history is known around the quarrying of Bladon stone, a stone which was used in many of the great buildings in Oxford. The first church here was built probably in the 11th or 12th century, but in 1802, a new church was built here. This image shows the old church that was demolished at that time. The church we see today was built in 1804, but considerably renovated and restored in 1891. Above the entrance is a figure of St. Martin of Tours, the patron saint of the church. There's this sign on the front door about how you have to keep the door shut because of the birds, and sure enough, we're here in the porch, we saw a bird fly away, and there's another one sitting on its nest right there. Near the baptismal font is a plaque showing the will of James Nixon in 1800, who left money to care for the organ and choir. Mary Soames, who was also known as Baroness Soames, was the youngest daughter and the last surviving child of Sir Winston and Lady Clementine Churchill. She was made a Lady Companion of the Order of the Garter by the Queen in 2005. Lady Soames' banner hung in this chapel until her death in 2014, and to mark her connection with St. Martin's, Lady Soames bequeathed this garter banner to the church. My favorite thing about the church is the stained glass windows. So I will share with you images of those windows. This gorgeous window was installed to mark the 50th anniversary of Winston Churchill's death. It was unveiled by Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Cornwall in 2015. It's a fascinating window. I'll hit a couple of the highlights. At the top of the window is Sir Winston's coat of arms. The pictures depict St. Martin of Tours, who is the patron saint of the church. He was a Roman soldier who converted to Christianity. St. Martin is in the picture on the left, and then the right is St. Alban, who lived in the 4th century. He was also a Roman soldier and became the first English Christian martyr. In the bottom of the window, you can see images that depict Winston Churchill, and around the border are all these references to Churchill. There's 2 airplanes, the Spitfire and the Liberator, a tank, black swans from Chartwell, 2 dogs, Winston's beloved cat, also from Chartwell, an image of fencing, which Winston took up when he was at Sandhurst, an image of his Nobel Medal for Literature, and the car that Winston used. There's even a symbol of champagne, since Winston was known for liking to drink on occasion, in addition to, of course, smoking cigars. Also embedded very subtly around the borders of the window are Winston Churchill quotes. We usually donate £5 or so when we go visit a parish church. How appropriate that our donation today was a note which bore the likeness of Sir Winston Churchill on it. The fact that Winston Churchill chose to have his funeral and be laid to rest here in Bladon was a really big deal for the village of Bladon. There are plaques and photos and detailed accounts of the memorial service here within the church. Now let's walk to the back churchyard to visit the Spencer Churchill family cemetery. Please forgive me for the fact that I was mispronouncing Marlborough on the day that I filmed this video. Here is the grave of Consuelo Vanderbilt, who was the wife of the 9th Duke of Marlborough. Of course, she was the American heiress who was pretty much forced by her mother to marry the Duke of Marlborough because she really wanted her daughter to be part of the British aristocracy, even though that's not really what Consuelo wanted to do. This is Mary's grave, Mary Soames, and her husband Christopher. Mary was daughter of Winston and Clementine Churchill, and it's her banner of the garter that is donated to the church and still in the church inside. This is the grave of Marigold Churchill, also Winston and Clementine's daughter. We learned about her when we were at the Churchill's house, Chartwell. That's an interesting video. I'll link in the description if you want to see what their Chartwell home was like and hear more about the family. It's also the grave of Sarah Churchill and Diana Spencer Churchill. Here is the grave of Winston Churchill and his wife Clementine. This is the grave of Winston's mother Jenny, who was also American. And this is the grave of Randolph Henry Spencer Churchill, who was Winston's father. This is the memorial to him within the church at nearby Blenheim Palace. And next to Lord Randolph's tomb is that of Randolph Spencer Churchill, who was the son of Winston. He died in 1968, just a few years after his father. There are other Churchill family graves here, including this one of John Strange Spencer Churchill, who was Winston's brother, and his son and his wife are also buried here. Now that I've shared this look around the church in Bladon, I'm going to take you to another town nearby to show you another part of Oxfordshire history, in the town of Witney. We are here in Witney, and I'm standing in front of the parish church, and this is going to be a mini vlog of the town of Witney because we only have an hour. So we're gonna see what we can see in the next hour in Witney. Our first stop as we're heading into town is the Holy Trinity Church, which is the parish church of Witney. So let's come see what it's like. It is a very small church with whitewashed walls, which is a little unusual. Beautiful dark beams in the rafters. The only real stained glass and ornamentation is above the altar. Very pretty. So overall, a very small and simple church, but I still like it. I kind of like all the little churches. The church isn't that old. It was consecrated in 1849, so it's not an ancient church, but it does need a new roof. And Ian is buying a tile in their buy a tile scheme to help restore the roof. So now we're leaving the church and heading into the town center. Witney is the largest market town in Oxfordshire and is on the edge of the Cotswolds. Much of the architecture reflects the past prosperity of the wool trade. We are walking down this road, hoping that we're not too far from the town center because we parked a ways away. Here's a development opportunity for someone. This location was the home of William Smith, the blanket manufacturer here in Witney, and it's for sale. Development opportunity. This poor doorway has not been opened in a long time. Witney is known for blankets, and here's a place here that sells blankets. Wonder what Witney blankets look like today. Witney is known for the Witney Point blanket, a wool blanket with stripes that, sadly, I did not see during my whirlwind visit to Witney this day. Here's a really cute store that sells just teddy bears. Teddy bears of Witney. This building's from 1721. It's the Blanket Hall. And for over 120 years, every blanket woven in Witney was brought here to be weighed and measured. Later, the building went through various reincarnations of other types of uses. But now it's a market hall that is open every Wednesday through Saturday and sells blankets, food, and other fun things. Cute little shopping area. And then this is Woolgate. The Corn Exchange was built in 1863 as the town expanded from the wool trade to other industries such as corn. It became a more modern market house and social center for the town. This is the Witney Butter Cross. In early medieval times, it was the location of the market cross in the middle of the town. But in 1606, Richard Ashcombe left £50 to build this market hall around the cross. Perishable goods were sold here, such as butter, hence the name. This market hall really reminds me of the yarn market that we saw in the village of Dunster in Somerset. And nearby is this beautiful big green area. I believe it's called Church Green, there with a large church at the end of it. This beautiful old building is the police station. I think it might still be the police station. It definitely used to be the police station. Now the old police station is a school. I'm guessing this lovely row of homes might be the almshouses that go along with this St. Mary the Virgin Church, which I'm about to go peek inside. The oldest parts of the church are from the early 1100s, so this is the ancient parish church in town. But it's obviously had extensive refurbishing done over the centuries since then. All the stained glass that the other parish church lacked, it's here in this church. We didn't have long to spend in Witney, but it really is a very pleasant little town. Actually, a much bigger town than we expected when we walked from one end of it to the other. Nice nod to the yarn and blanket heritage here at Spinner's Cottage. I really like these Victorian buildings here on the edge of the green. This is a beautiful war memorial, and what I was curious to see is that they have all these red flowers around it. Obviously, poppies are known for being war remembrance flowers, but these are red, I would say, dahlias? So question for you, if you're British, do you say dahlia or dahlia? I had an English chap say to me yesterday, he pronounces it dahlia, so tell me what you say. This pub here called The Angel is very pretty. They have beautiful flowers. Here is another view of the Butter Cross, and across the street is the Town Hall, which was built in the 18th century. This pub here says The Three Pigeons, which I think is a funny name. Then it also says Courage. Is that the brewery, or what's that about? Well, we're in trouble because we've got to run all the way back to the car and we have no time to stop and get a treat here, which is what we wanted to do. We have just run across town to get back to where our car is, but hopefully you enjoyed this quick little glimpse of Witney. Check out this town if you are in this part of Oxfordshire. I hope you check out some of my other Oxfordshire videos of places nearby, of Blenheim and also of Woodstock. And if you're interested in Churchill, please check out this video about Chartwell, their country home in Kent. Thanks so much for watching, and do something good in the world today.